Hey guys, so welcome to another problem of valid parentheses. This is problem number 20 in Leetcode. And what this problem asks is that to find out if a string has got valid parentheses like this. So what it means is that there should be a closing bracket for every opening bracket, and if it doesn't, so it would return false. So let's assume some edge cases. So what are these edge cases? So let's say the input is something like this. So what it would return is true. Let's say if the input is just this, so obviously it would return false because it is missing uh, to complete the sequence. Let's suppose the input is something uh, like this, this, and this. So if and then it is true because the nested is complete. Let's suppose the input is something like this, but like something like this. So it is incomplete and it would return false. So now we have understood our problem statement. That is, however it is, it could be in the nested format or it could not be in the nested format, but the sequence of these brackets should uh, like be true or false depending on if the complete parenthesis is there. So if any is incomplete, so the basic is if any way the structure is incomplete, return. If so instead of structure we can say if the pair is incomplete, so we are going to return false. So we now understand this has to have some kind of pair. So for every opening there has to be a closing, and so one for every opening there has to be a closing, and second is that the order of the opening should have the closing should have the same order of the opening brackets. So the closing brackets should have the same order for the opening brackets. There is one more test scenario or the edge scenario, that is if the input is nothing, then what are we supposed to return? We are supposed to return true. So if there are none, I mean, we are going to consider as true. Otherwise, we are going to see through all the uh, valid pairs, and these are the two scenarios. There has to be a closing, and uh, the order has to be maintained. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to use a stack and queue algorithm of the data structure for this. What we are basically going to do is, let's say we are going to involve a variable called stack, and uh, so what stack would consist eventually. Let's take this input scenario where the input is, let's say, this and this. So eventually uh, we would only pop from the stack when we encounter any closing parenthesis. So step one, I mean, or however you can say, uh, mechanism is to pop from stack whenever we encounter closing, right? So, and else we are going to add to the stack. So now let's see what happens for the example that we are working on. So initially we would read each character from this input, and what will stack have in the beginning, this first opening bracket, right? And then we would read the next character. So next character is still an opening bracket, it is not a closing. So only when we would encounter a closing we would pop that. So we encounter this and we add that character to the stack. Then what are we going to do is that we are encountering the closing parenthesis. Now the moment we are encountering the closing parenthesis, we are going to pop from the stack and check if it is a valid pair. So we now encountered this, and if we are going to say stack.pop, this is going to give us this. And since it is a valid pair, the opening and the closing, or we can say to check if the last character in the stack is this. So since it is a valid pair, we would just pop it from the stack, right? Now let's continue. What we encountered then is another closing bracket, and now a stack of -1. I mean, this got removed. Now this is actually this, and again, if we are going to, since this is a valid pair, we would pop this, and now the stack doesn't have anything, right? Then we read the next character. The next character is again an opening bracket, and we are going to add that to the stack. And similarly, the next character would again pop it. So the next character would with this, and stack of -1. The last position has this bracket, and so we are again going to pop stack. And what it would eventually mean is that the stack would be empty. And at the end of this complete iteration through every character, we are going to see the length of stack, and if it is 0, that means for every opening bracket there was an identical closing bracket, and so everything got popped. We are going to return true. And now the question comes, when are we going to return false? So false, the case for false is that if the stack is not empty, then we are going to return false, because then it would mean like there has been a bracket that is remaining. So think of this in this scenario like think of it like this. So this bracket was put, and every other would get popped eventually, and the stack has 1 remaining in it. So obviously that means the pair is not complete, and we are going to return false if the last position in the stack is not a valid pair with the present character. So basically what we are doing is just like extracting the characters from the string s, and what we would do is that we are checking if ch equals to opening or not. So if ch equals to this, or ch sorry, if it is this, or ch equals to let's say a closing bracket, or ch equals to let's say uh, this, or ch equals to let's say this. So all the different closing brackets that we have. So if that is so, then we have to check if stack exists, if there is something in the stack, and stack of last position is equal to the pair. So let's say if this exists, so last position has to be equals to the opening. Now, how are we going to determine if this is following a pair? So we can just create a hash map of the brackets, and in those hash maps we are going to let's say match each of the closing with its consecutive opening, like so. Closing with the opening and closing with the opening, and is there anything that I'm missing? Okay, yeah, the false bracket. So match this closing with its opening. So now you can say if you can directly say if ch in hash map, and I'm not sure if we can write if this is syntactically correct. What okay, let's proceed and then we will check. So if hash map has ch character that gets extracted, so we would simply say if this is matching the hash map of ch. So if stack is not empty, and there is this last I mean, if the last character present in the stack has a matching pair, so let's say the last character is this, so it should have an opening pair. The last position in the stack should be equal to the opening pair. And let's define the stack. So if that is so, then what we are going to do is stack dot pop, and we are going to let it continue. Now, what happens if ch is not in there? So we are going to append to that stack ch, because those are the opening brackets, and we are going to pop from that stack. Now, if this is not so, then we can just simply say if the pair is not formed, right? So that means we can't do anything, and we have to just return false. And what are the other condition? If the stack is not empty, so I mean return not of stack. So if the stack is not empty, if it is something, then it would return false. So now the question arises, I mean, how is this case solved? So there wouldn't be anything in the stack if the input doesn't have any characters in it. So this loop won't be there, and not of stack, it would return true. So not of stack is basically covering the scenario, basically covering the scenario of empty input. Input is empty. Otherwise, we could have directly written return true. Otherwise, we could. Otherwise, this is equivalent of saying return true, right? Uh, so the false statements are considered if the pair is not matched. So here is like check if the pair is getting formed. If it is not getting formed, return false. If it is getting formed, then just pop that and continue. And yeah, that is it. So let's run it and check how it is going. So we seem to have passed all the test cases, and let's submit. And there it is. I mean, we kind of have done it. Thank you, guys, for your time.